Hello and welcome. This is Sports Debate, where we give you a platform to place your mouth where your passion is, to show off your sport knowledge, and all arguments are spot on. I am Solomon Ajiziogu. The decision to end the Nigeria Professional Football League, the NPFL, on the 24th match day, and not to relegate the 4 teams due for the drop to the Nigeria National League, NNL, created a lot of ripples. The league management company, LMC, ended the NPFL with 14 matches left to play and declared Lobby Stars champions and declared it was not going to relegate any team from the top flight. Of course, it did not. Instead, it will receive 4 teams from the second tier, the Nigeria National League, NNL, to bring the number of teams in the top flight to 24. Some of the clubs in the NNL refused to take part in the Super 8 playoffs. Eventually, they ended up taking part in the tournament ordered by the Nigeria Football Federation and the League Board. The clubs insisted that the NPFL take the top 8 teams. Their point is that if the league and the NFF can lay aside club football rules to declare Lobby Stars winners of the top flight, then they should take the 8 teams into the top flight. Orders and threats had been thrown around, and most of the teams, even though they eventually went to play in Aba, had initially refused to play. So we ask, who has authority over the leagues? Is it the NFF, the league boards, or the clubs themselves? Can the NFF and the LMC just take the decisions over the interests of the clubs? That's our question today, and that's our topic. And you can join the TVC Sports Debate on Twitter at SportingSoloTVC or at TVC News NG, or better still, at TVC Connect, hashtag TVC Sports Debate. With me today are 2 gentlemen. Both of them are making their debut on Sports Debate. Sam Oluwagbemi Amadu. You're welcome to Sports Debate.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show.
And he's up against Tomiwa Babalola.
It's a good day to be here, making a debut. You know, it's definitely going to be a very good one. You know, if you are playing for your coach for the first time, you have to make an impression.
So who's the coach here? Well, so we saw all that happened before the Super 8 playoffs in Aba eventually. And there was so much argument, so much quarrel. Where is it done? No team gets relegated. And then you say you will take 4 teams from the lower division. And then the league did not end, as it were, 24 matches and then 14 matches to go. And so with 14 matches, you know that it's possible Lobby Stars couldn't have won. Yeah. Right. So when we look at all of these things, who exactly has the authority over the league? Not over football, over the league.
Okay, so in the context of Nigerian football scene, of course, there is no other body that has total control over the league than the NFF.
Really?
Yes, the NFF. If the NFF is not organizing the league, the clubs will not play. The clubs, yes, they are key players in the league, but obviously the decision solely lies with the NFF. Because in the real sense of it, we are talking about Nigeria where the league is, where football is not autonomous of the government. And the NFF as it is, yes, we heard there is a bill in the National Assembly that has gone through one first reading, second reading, but it has not been passed. So, which means that the government still has a large chunk of decision to take in football. And NFF being a body that organizes football is still affiliated to the government. So it means that there is no private running of this football league. So for me, 100% NFF owns and runs football league in Nigeria.
Really?
Well, I don't know. I really don't understand where it's coming from. No doubt the NFF seem to manage the game. But for reasons best known to me, I think the clubs do have more rights, have more say in what goes about our football leagues. Not just in Nigeria, I think globally. And for me, I think we've had a lot of incidents and also several situations that has somehow helped broaden or kind of substantiates such view, seeing how clubs' decisions and how their role really play a lot of toll on what happens, how the league's activities do roll out. And you could see, we know somehow or naturally that the NFF doesn't exist if the clubs don't seem united with them. And at the same time, the body NFF will say is even is holding the management of football in trust of the clubs. And as much as we also know, the clubs also are the ingredients of the nation's football anywhere in the world. They are the one who offer individual capacity. They are the one who also, by virtue of their progression, comes through administratively into the NFF from club levels. And same time, looking at players too, most of them comes from the clubs. Whether it be an academy, they are from one club side or the other. So it's on the active angle and also administratively, from the players' angle and also on the administrative angle, the clubs play a lot of role, huge role and impacts on what happens regards to league football and also football generally in the country.
I like what he says. He says the club play roles, not that they own decisions. Now this is what we are saying. Let's take for instance when the NNL says they want 8 clubs promoted. If they own decision, they would have had their ways pushing 8 clubs to the Premier League, and by now we will have 14 teams in each of the groups. But NFF said no. Go ahead and play your Super 8. Get us 4 teams. Let them join the already 20 teams in the league. Then we can relegate 8 teams at the end of this season. So it means that I agree that the clubs are key stakeholders. But obviously, in the Nigerian scene, the NFF owns the right, the decision that as regards the MPFL, not the clubs. You cannot. It's just like you're building the studio without presenters. The studios will be there. Anybody can occupy it. But the fact remains that without a studio, you cannot come and present this program. So the NFF will organize a league. They will, to some extent, you know what it is when you have numbers on your side.
Tomiwa, yes. I do not know anywhere in the established world of football that the Football Association organizes the league.
But in Nigeria, it is.
It shouldn't be. That's what we're saying.
That's because we haven't been able to take our football away from the government.
Why do the clubs in Europe threaten UEFA, and every time UEFA had to plead with them?
Because this is what we see. This is what we are saying. The clubs in Europe, you have, even from the jerseys, you see sponsors. They can run themselves. They don't need government. Tell me how many clubs in Nigeria, apart from MFM, Ifeanyi Uba,
question is for you.
That will run successfully without the intervention of the government.
I'm trying to see him find his feet, but I can see he's obviously struggling. But realistically, we know too well, just like you just said, a club globally, even in Nigeria, let's come home, let's talk from here. We see how these teams do, somehow people claim they hold the league to ransom, they hold the NFF to ransom. And, for the sake of reasoning, I know some of these clubs do come to an understanding with the league organizers, with the NFF. Okay, we want to go your way. Well, that is happening without no compromise. And when that situation happens, it takes time. And, it's part of the reason why we have so much crisis and, it's become protracted that, by the end of the day, gets to see them resolving, not just probably on rent, but trying to lobby these clubs to really follow their own path. And this was evident in the whole process leading to even the league ending and also the Super 4.
Are you a politician? Because you seem to just be dancing around it. If he is supporting that the league is run by the NFF or is run by the FA, in England, I don't see the FA running the league. It's owned by the EPL, a registered body. Even the Nigerian league is not owned by the NFF. Sure. Because the league was first registered as NFL under Galadima. Then we have the LMC, which is a purely private arrangement where you have the clubs. In the MLS, they don't even do promotion and relegation. No. It's a private outfit. MLS is not the only top-flight league. In the United States, you have the USL, you have the ASL, you have the NASL.
Yeah, but realistically,
these are all private arrangements.
I'm going to talk about that. For me, I personally feel the LMC, the NFF are practically alike because one, the bodies, the organizing bodies, they work in tandem. The LMC is part of the NFF by administrative structure, and by extension, activities of the LMC are practically made known to the NFF. And on the other side, where you have the clubs, who practically are the one who are the key actors and should be the key decision makers of what happens to the league activities of the season. And I think this is what has been happening. It's nothing new to everyone that, okay, the clubs, the league always have a congress, proposals are being made. The organizer could propose this, what dates we're going to have. If we say it's not okay with us, it's not, as the clubs. I don't know if you get to understand, even if the NFF or the LMC sit together, this is what we want, it still boils down to what the clubs themselves do want at the end of the day. And except they have a compromising grounds, it's impossible for the league, or the NFF or the LMC to take decisions on their own, or take their own authority, have a goal straight off to make decisions on what is pertaining the clubs affecting various leagues. The NNL, sorry, the NNL, the NWPL, every clubs at various level, various cadre, have play their huge role, and not just the huge role, they are much more decider of what affects them, because one, they are practically the owner of the game.
Say, Sam, again, there is no taking away the fact that the clubs are key players now. But this whole thing, you cannot take NFF away from decision making. I understand with you that the NFF says, we want to do this. The club says, no, this is not going to be comfortable for us.
What would have happened if the clubs had refused to play the Super 8?
Really? The NFF would have vetoed their way in.
I shouldn't be speaking for Sam. And I shouldn't expect that when you speak like this, Sam will just sit back and be looking. But I will give him the opportunity to talk about this in the second half of the show. I would have thought that the clubs were going to have their Super 8 because the league, the NPFL, was going to relegate 4, naturally.
Of course.
So when the NPFL did not relegate 4, which is against the rules, the NNL clubs could also decide that they are not going to play the Super 8 because the league in the NPFL was supposed to end. But the league in the NPFL did not end.
Yeah, it did.
And then the LMC unilaterally, out of its own negligence, because we had no business suspending the league for the World Cup.
That we had just one league player who didn't even test action.
Who didn't even test action.
Go to that. Well,
no, we'll come to that.
I know it's...
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. We'll talk about that in the second half of the show. It's a debate about the Nigeria Football Federation, the League Management Company, the NNL, and the clubs. Who has authority over the league? Tomiwa Babalola says the Nigeria Football Federation has authority over the league. Yeah. But Sam confuses me. Who has authority over the league? The clubs or the NFF?
The clubs.
He says it's the clubs. Well, and I ask, who do you think has authority over the league when you consider the troubles the Nigerian league has witnessed, from ending the games at match day 24 with 14 games left to play, with the NNL teams initially refusing to play in the Super 8, insisting that 8 teams will go because the NPFL refused to relegate 4. Who has authority over the league and the affairs of the league? The NFF, the LMC, the NNL, or the clubs? You can contribute to this debate by sending your tweet to me at Sporting Solo TVC or at TVC News NG, or better still at TVC Connect, hashtag TVC Sports Debate. It is still Sports Debate with me, Solomon Ajishogu. And the topic we're looking at today is the Nigeria Football Federation, the league management company LMC, the NNL, the Nigerian National League, the second tier of football, and the clubs. Who has authority over the league? Sam Oluwagbemi Amadu says the clubs have authority over the league. But Tomiwa Babalola says the NFF has authority over the league. In fact, they own the league because even the LMC admits to it in its statute.
Yeah.
Who do you think owns the league? Who has authority over the league? You can contribute to this debate by sending your tweets to me at Sporting Solo TVC or at TVC News NG, or better still, at TVC Connect, hashtag TVC Sports Debate. So, we were coming to the mechanics.
Yeah.
I told you that in Europe,
Yeah.
EPL is a privately run company, even though administratively they have a representative in the FA,
Yeah.
vice chairman or something. The Nigerian League, the LMC, the chairman of the Nigerian League is also a vice president in the Nigeria Football Federation. So you have the Major League Soccer, the North American Soccer League. You have different kinds of football leagues in the United States. Some of them, they don't even do promotion and relegation. And they're a privately owned organization registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission, the likes of the Corporate Affairs Commission in Nigeria, in the US or in Switzerland. Even FIFA is not created by an act of parliament. FIFA is registered in the Companies and Allied Matters Commission in Switzerland. So, tell us, why should a league run by clubs be controlled and dictated to by the Football Federation when the clubs have already adhered to the rules of association football?
Well, see, let's first get this straight. In developed countries, the league is run by the clubs because they are established on a private matters, not from the government perspective. In Nigeria, there is nothing like that. There is nothing.
How?
The LMC is created. No, that's a club.
Okay.
Do you understand? It's a
MFMFC.
Yeah, that's another one.
Raymond.
That's another one. Now we have 24 teams in the league right now. If we have to judge by numbers, we have 21 teams. Okay, there is a go-round, which is also privately owned. So we have like 70 or 80% of the NPFL clubs owned by the government, sponsored by the government.
Probably we have an irregular system running football in Nigeria. It still boils down to what the club wants. And this has happened at various levels, either with the NPFL or the NNL. And we've seen the NNL teams, they obviously stood up overnight deciding that they were going to end their league. And it was the decision of the clubs in the NPFL. And at that point, at that level, I think the clubs held their decisions. If the clubs decided they were going to end the league,
if the clubs run football, I'm sure that the 8 teams that the NNL wanted they would have prevailed.
The LMC made proposals to them, whether you play the league, you finish playing the league, or probably we get to a point when we can't continue, we could probably declare a winner. No, they said they were keen, they were okay, stopping at week 24 and deciding the winner and also deciding not to go on relegation.
The league went on break.
An unnecessary break.
Of course.
And they lied.
On the account of...
And they said that it was the World Cup that FIFA instructed them.
So, do you understand?
That is not true.
Of course it's not true.
But realistically, on that perspective, I think the clubs too decided their calendar when the season started and they approved what the NFF and the LMC presented to them.
Sam,
why? Because from their own schedule, I think they had arrangements that they were going to be on break.
Sam,
and the
this is my
clubs too
question
were part
for you.
of
This
the-
is my
the World
question
Cup
for
trip.
you.
Okay,
Was
so
it- was
the
it
clubs,
if the
what
club-
was
if the
their
club-
business at the World Cup?
Was
Well, the
that's
club were
right.
keen
Was
to
it-
also
was
Okay,
it-
fine. The
was
World
it-
Cup ended in
If
1
the
month.
clubs were also-
Okay,
Sam.
the World Cup ended in 1 month. What happened 1.5 months after?
After the World Cup.
Well,
was it? This
because
is
the
my
league
question
didn't
to Sam.
go on.
This is my question to Sam. Was it the decision of the clubs to stop the league for 1 month, or the decision of the NFF? It was obviously the NFF.
It couldn't be the NFF
It
because
was the
even
NFF.
if the NFF
It was
agreed,
the NFF. Because if it
league
wasn't-
resumed,
if it wasn't the
if the NFF
NFF,
agreed, the league resumed, the clubs too will tell you we don't have the funds, we don't have the resources. It boils down to that, and that tells you
Which
that you just have
club
to.
doesn't have the resources?
It's the
At the start of the season,
You have-
if you're a
you have to
professional
understand
club,
that at-
you
at the
should
middle of the
have
season,
your
If
financial.
you have a team playing in the Nigeria Professional League, which does not necessarily seem professional, okay?
I mean, let's even say let's take example from European countries. If you are a professional club, you should have your budget for the year.
Okay.
For the season. So no club can come back after a break and say they don't have the fund to run.
Well,
it's not possible.
Well, it's to
That's
tell you the
still-
strength of the club. We also want to prove our strengths.
That's not proving
We want to
strength.
prove our strengths.
Okay,
as
if
being
we
as
agree,
owners of the league.
if we
We
agree,
own the league, and
if we agree,
the club
whether-
owns the league. So how will you restart a league season without our own knowledge and
Capitalizing
without our
on financial.
A lot of excuses will be thrown up. We own the league and want to prove our control of the league.
If you really own something, you will come out boldly and say, we are not running the league, not because we don't have money, but because we don't agree with you.
The same thing happened with the NNL. NNL teams came out boldly. They were not going to play the Super Bowl.
But what happened at the end of the
Even though
day?
they
Their
agreed,
boldness, they're chicken out.
it wasn't as if they chicken out.
They
We know how
did.
that
They did. Because even if
it
they did
was-
not chicken out,
it was matters of reason.
wait.
It was-
Hold on. Even if they didn't chicken out, at first, Gombe United and one other team, they were already at the venue. It was just the 6 other teams that were waiting for.
That was 2 against 6.
But you understand? But it shows that some of them wanted to play.
Obviously, it was just a dummy. They sold. All the clubs were not
No
interested.
dummy was sold.
All the clubs,
See, no
majority of
dummy
the clubs
was
were not
number one.
interested in playing Super 8.
For me, it meant that number one, the
Understand
NNL
something, the
clubs,
majority of the clubs
it
were
meant
not keen to
number
play the
one.
Super 8.
Number
And
one, it
for
meant
those
that
that
the
went
clubs
was
were
only
not
just
in
to-
unison. They were not in unity because if all of them. Super 8, you're expecting 8 teams. If the 8 teams are
2 teams,
decided,
how could that be unison?
I'm coming.
80% of the teams were only turning up and you
Listen up, Sam. If you and I had an agreement and I went back behind you to go and strike another deal, man, I've sold you out. Those clubs sold the NNL out. They played the NNL. They played the Super 8. That's why we didn't see any
It was the
punishment.
club. They're on their own. We knew even when the date was designed. Okay, we're going to play Super 8 early in January. The club still demanded, even after resolving, and it was on grounds of understanding. It was basically
normal-
on solid
it's normal-
reason.
it's normal for me to reason with
the club
you.
has compromised. Yes, the reason with me
It's
because
normal for me to reason with
I am
you.
in control
But
of the league.
it's normal for
The
me to
club
reason
decides
with
we
you,
are
but it
gonna
doesn't
play-
mean that I'm going
we are
to-
going to play the tournament. If we are not playing, we're not playing.
It's not.
And again, for the sake of
it's normal for
our
me.
football moving forward.
It's normal for
the
me
sake of
as
our
a
football
league
moving
decision
forward,
body.
It was just a major.
It's normal for me as a league decision body to reason with you, but I will not allow you to usurp my power. That's just the thing.
Club
That's what they
shifted grounds.
did.
The club shifted grounds only for the sake of Nigerian football. Because one, if we have allowed this continued, we know that there was never going to be a league season, whether the NNL or the MPFL. It's obviously
Who caused that break?
The break.
The break. The 2.5 long month break.
The sabbatical break.
There was somebody, okay, yes, there was a plan.
It was the clubs.
The clubs,
It wasn't
wait,
the
the club said
clubs.
there will be World Cup break.
It wasn't
Okay,
the clubs.
after the World Cup, there was 1.5 month more break. Who caused that one too?
at this point in time, I never believed any move was made to have the league restarted immediately. And at the same time, a lot of excuses was thrown around, especially seeing the crisis that also came up, especially from Russia.
Okay, no problem. Because of our time, I will allow you to give your closing remarks. Who has authority over the league? The NFF, the LMC, the NNL, or the clubs? Your closing remarks.
Okay, so this LMC are just the tool in the hands of the NFF. The NFF, as far as the Nigerian Football League is concerned, own the 100% right, the decision-making on the league. Nothing more. The clubs are stakeholders. The players are key players. Of course, they are players. But with or without the NFF, there is nothing all of these people can do.
Really?
Yes.
So without the English FA, the EPL won't run. Is that what you're saying?
The English FA is a private entity.
The
English FA is a private entity.
The Nigerian league should be a private entity.
Should be, but it is not right now.
That is the rule.
No, it is not right now.
All right. Your closing remark.
Yeah, for me, I think it's really unarguable globally. Whether we have a regular or irregular football system, the clubs hold a priority role. What will I mean? They hold the lion's share of control over whatever league activities happening in whatever country in the world, including Nigeria. And that is not hidden. And I think from what we've seen so far, we know the powers the league or the clubs do have. And even though the clubs obviously may have shit grants, compromise on some matters, we can easily see the powers they've shown it. They are not keen about ruining the game. But again, we know there are irregularities in our football system. But at the same time, the clubs who want to hold the league to ransom can kill our own football. But will always show that, yes, they hold a powerful role, they hold a leading role in how our league football is being governed, and also have a huge stake and also huge control of what happens or what goes over every football league.
Wow. That is the voice of someone who sounds like a PRO, Sam Amadou. Well, who do you think holds authority over the league in Nigeria? The NFF, the LMC, the NNL, or the clubs? Tomiwa Babalola says the NFF. Every other body is a tool in the hand of the NFF. And that the NFF owns 100% of football rights. Wow. But Sam Amadou here disagrees. He says the clubs, as far as the league is concerned, the clubs have the authority over the league, over club football. It is a club affair. Well, you be the judge. What do you think? Send your tweets to me at Sporting Solo TVC or at TVC News NG, or better still, at TVC Connect, #TVC Sports Debate. Until we come your way again next time, enjoy the rest of your day.